Well, let's go to Eric calling in from Texas. Hey, Eric, you're on the line. What's up?
Hi, thanks so much for having me on. I'm really excited to chat. So I've recently been struggling just with how much Christianity is like embroiled in our culture and our days off that we have and the words we use. I've been trying to remove like God and Jesus even from my vocabulary. Instead of saying like, oh my God, I'll say, oh my moon. So I'm just curious, like how from both of y'all's perspectives, either you deal with it or feel that it's like, is it too much? Is there anything that really we can do about it at this point? Or how does it kind of shape the way Christians also live in this country?
Keith, I'll let you go first.
Well, I'll try to be brief. Yeah, so you're right. And I think people, we don't even know how pervasive it is. Like I one time made a list of about like 10 different phrases that literally were quoted from Jesus, like don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. And all these kind of things. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Like these are all specific quotes from Jesus, and total non-Christians use these phrases all the time, not realizing they're quoting Jesus when they do that. And so do I think we're ever going to reach a place where we're absolutely living in a totally secular environment? Probably not. I don't see that happening. Unfortunately, I mean, we're just going to be, in America especially, people are convinced it's a Christian nation. It's not. But I think it's kind of here to stay, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm curious because I don't know the answer to this either, but like I see a couple different scenarios. One is that the nation, as we know it, becomes more secular, broadly so, but like I'm not convinced that it'll be atheist. I think it's going to be loosely spiritual. That's what I have my money on. Like I think out of all the possibilities, I think that's what it's going to be. But like there's this other possibility that, because I've seen statistics that say that like progressive Christianity and other kinds of Christianity aren't growing as much as we thought, but fundamentalists are not leaving in the same numbers, right? So it's almost like the Christianity that's left over might be even more fundamentalist because like the more progressive types are becoming in their dark ways, like me, following the dark path. And then, what's left over is the real Bible thumpers, down here in Texas and other places. So like, I don't know which one is more likely. I hope it's not the second. And honestly, there's problems with the first two, because like, I would like to live in a culture that is free to be skeptical of all kinds of ideas. And I think that these kind of woo new age stuff can do just as much harm in certain contexts, even though they can also be meaningful and provide something that like Christianity can do, like in a sense of community and stuff. But whatever happens, like it's not going to be the same. What we're seeing now in 2021, I think the religious perspective of this country is changing. I just don't know exactly where. So I don't know. That's my take. Any follow up on that, Eric or Keith?
Well, yeah, I would just say I'm
I probably shouldn't have asked at the same time.
Right,
I'll go with Keith first.
Again, I'll try and be brief. Like I'm typically a pessimist at heart, right? Which is an optimist with experience. But I'm fairly optimistic in the long term that this sort of fundamentalist Christian, which I find very, very hateful and toxic and very us and them, very tribalistic, which unfortunately is very embedded in American politics, right? I look at the same numbers and I see actually the church getting older, getting much older. Those people are dying out. There are not as many young people being a part of that. Now, I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think you are always going to have certain little churches in the backwoods somewhere, in Kentucky or North Carolina or Tennessee or something, that they're never going to, they're just going to, they're going to lock themselves off from the world and just hunker down and never let go. But I kind of feel like the majority of young people, millennials and whatever is after that, Gen Z, whatever, I think most of them seem to really reject all those ideas and are just either not interested in religion at all, or if they are, they're interested in much more of something that looks kind of like what I'm suggesting and a lot less like what their parents or grandparents are into. So I have hopes, and especially with this deconstruction movement, I have hopes that it's going to move away from that into something a little, I don't know, a little nicer.
One last thoughts from Eric. Give your take here, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure. I appreciate you guys taking the time. I guess I look at it because I was not raised in a religious household. And then I am looking back at my life in a different type of deconstruction of my just normal everyday life and how much Christianity and God is a part of it, even though that's not something I've ever subscribed to. And I guess what I'm hoping for is something along the lines of that. You know, you're not pushed into it without even really knowing, even if you don't go to church, that you have more of an opportunity to explore and come to your own decisions. And I guess that's kind of like my hope for the future.
Yeah,
me too.
Like I think I almost wonder, like, will Easter one day become like Columbus Day is to me, like just another holiday that people don't put much stock into? I don't know. It's possible, but we're definitely not living in that time now. So we'll see what the future brings. But thanks, Eric, for calling in. Appreciate your call.